building video, I thought I would do this technique called Glazed Oxide. You might have seen it before, it was popular a little while ago, but you had to use the Holtz micro glaze to get it to work. However, if you're a cheapskate like me, it works with Vaseline too, so I thought I'd show you. And also going up to date on my main channel, CRaFTi PoTeNTiAl, is this shaker card where I use the same technique for the background. And I thought I'd probably get a lot of people asking what technique it was I'd used, so that's why I thought I'd do this video, and they're both going up on the same day. So yeah, I just thought I'd show the technique. So to do the technique you need some glossy white card. I'm using the foundations stuff because it's like really good. So that's the card you need. Then you also need your distress oxides. You can use the ink pads or the Reinkers. I have a few Reinkers that I don't have in ink pad colours because I just wanted certain colours, and I thought, well, you know, might as well just buy the Reinker rather than the ink pad for doing technique things. And then you need a spray bottle of water. You need your Vaseline, which is just get a tiny one like this in Poundland, or probably cheaper in the supermarkets as well. And then you also need one of the Tonic Easy Clean mats. This is the one that came with my Holtz Media mat, but you can also get their, I think it's a 12 by 12 version that comes in a roll, so I'll link to both of them below. Yeah, so that's the basic. Oh no, we also need a heat tool as well, but that's the basic requirements. So basically, you're using the kind of traditional wrinkle-free distress technique where you keep adding different layers of ink, but because the distress oxides are an opaque ink, the layers kind of cover each other up, but when you add the Vaseline at the end, it sort of brings all the layers back. You'll see what I mean when I do it, but yeah, so I think I want to do these ones in this colour palette, because I did the Squeezed Lemonade and Spiced Marmalade and Picked Raspberry for this one, I think. I think that's what I used, I can't remember. So I thought for this one I'm going to use Twisted Citron, Cracked Pistachio and Broken China. I like to do one colour at a time, but you can do all the colours at the same time. I just find it works better. So this is an A5 piece of the card. I just like to, well, I tend to make sort of A6 or A2 sized cards, so I can get 2 out of this piece. So we're going to start with the Twisted Citron, and you just want to put some out on the mat, and you need to work on one of these Easy Clean mats rather than the glass, because it has kind of like a textured surface, so the ink beads up. So if you watch when I spray it, the ink sort of goes in these little beads, whereas it doesn't do that on the glass mat. On the glass mat it kind of just all runs into a big puddle, so you don't get the same kind of effect. So we just going to squish the card in and pick up some of the ink. See, we picked up some of the dots, some squishy ink as well. There's going to be a lot of drying between layers for this technique as well, but you just want to get a nice coverage of one colour first and then move on to the next colour as well, but you have to make sure you dry between your layers. So I'm just going to dry this now. Okay, that's almost dry. I think I am going to add a bit more of the Twisted Citron in though. So I'm going to squish my ink pad on here again, but I want to make sure I don't put it in any of the wet puddles from before, because otherwise you don't want to get water in your ink pad. And then just add a bit more water to that, maybe add a bit more water to this area, and press your card in, pick up some more colour. And dry again. Okay, so we've got quite a good coverage of the Twisted Citron on your card now. You can come back to the green as well if you want to, but I'm now going to clean off my match. And then we can move on to the next colour. Also, I have seen people do this technique and they use like really random colours, like complementary colours, but I like to stick to analogous colours because I just think it gives a nicer look overall. I don't like sort of pink and green together on the same card because although the colours don't kind of mix, they overlap, it still looks brown to me, so I tend to stick to the analogous colours that are all next to each other on the colour wheel. So next I'm going to go with cracked pistachio. Do exactly the same thing and picking it up. You don't want to be too gingerly when you press the card in as well, because I've found in the past, I've tried this kind of technique and I've never really picked up much of the dotty pattern, and I think it's because I've been like too gentle and just trying to tap it, but you can push it and it still picks up the dotty pattern when you're working on a mat like this. If you're working on a glass mat it's not going to work, but when you're working on one of the easy clean mats it works. Now you can see that the background looks kind of like really muted and cloudy, and you can't really see the gloss of the cardstock anymore, which obviously this is the kind of look you get with oxides, that's the whole point of them. But the beauty of this technique is, if you look at areas, so here you've got loads of the broken china layered over the top of the other colours, and you think you've kind of lost all the detail that's underneath, but when we add the Vaseline, I'm just going to put a scrap piece of paper so it doesn't get all over my mat, but when we put the Vaseline over the top, you should start to see lots of the detail from underneath coming back through again. So I'm just using an ink blending tool with the round pad on. This is actually the same one I used to do the other, and it's still got pink on it, but should be fine. So you just want to pat it. The first time I did this, it was a really hot day, and like the sponge almost went all the way into the tin, so just be careful at what kind of temperature the day is. And I'm actually gonna, so I've picked up, you can see it on the tool, it's sort of peaky on there, so I am gonna just smudge it into the tool on my glass mat. You can sort of see that it's gone, can't see the peaky bits anymore, it's in the sponge now. And then we just blend on as if you were ink blending. And as you can see, there's more layers appearing. Look at that, it's really cool. And it kind of gives the shine back to the card as well. You can really see that that oxide look has sort of gone, the chalky look. And you're seeing all of the different layers from underneath again. See, that bit just really popped then. If I show you a piece, okay, let's show you this, get some more on my thing. If I show you this corner, it looks like it's pretty much taken over by broken china, but if we go over the top of it, you see, the other colours start to pop through. The broken china's sort of gone into the background a bit, and some of the twisted citrons come up, and cracked pistachio as well. So it's a really cool technique. Just keep going. It doesn't matter that the sponge has gone blue, it doesn't really come off, so as you saw, I had pink on it before and it was fine. And look, you can tell how chalky the oxides are. There's actually chalky residue on my fingers. Okay, I think that's everything. So I'll just leave that to one side. Clean this up as well. then we can just use a piece of dry kitchen roll just to buff it a little bit. It gives back that original sort of glossy finish of the card then when you buff it. Okay, so that is our glazed Distress Oxide background, but cheating and using Vaseline instead of really expensive microglaze. So this is like £1 for the pot, and I think microglaze is like £7 or £8, so it's definitely worth investing in a little pot of Vaseline to try the technique out. So there we go, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll put some photos of the cards I make using this background at the end, but thank you for watching, bye!